my crafty friends. It's Candy here from sweetstamper.com, and I am going to silence my messages right now because I've got things coming across while I'm trying to chat with y'all. Hey Kathy, I'm glad you're here. It is Teach Me Tuesday. So welcome to Teach Me Tuesday. We're going to be doing a fun fold today. I've got lots of tools out because we're going to be using the Big Boss and the paper trimmer, and we are coming up to the end of our designer series paper special. So I thought this would be a good time to utilize some of that designer paper that we're getting on special right now at 15% off so many of our papers. It's been awesome. And we are having amazing fall weather here in South Central Texas. So when we get fall weather in San Antonio, it's like, woohoo, we get really excited. Hey, Susie, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, I think you're going to really like this fun fold. So this one really is. I don't know, sometimes people call them fun folds. Sometimes people call them fancy folds. So we're going to do kind of a fancy card, but just I think it's just a fun fold. So kind of depending on how you appoint this, kind of mainly depending on the paper you use, and then the way you stamp it will depend on whether it's fancy or not. Hey, Melissa, I'm glad you're joining us live as well. And Susan's here. We've got a good crowd gathering. Let me grab my computer to make sure I can see what you're seeing, because I'm getting ready to turn this computer down, not the computer, my phone. And I want to make sure that you can see what I'm showing you. So, because once I turn the camera down, I will not be able to see what's showing in there unless I look from another device. Hey Gail, I'm glad you're here with us today. Okay, so I am going to jump right in to our fun fold. So let me bring the camera down and let me clear my space just a wee bit here so I have more room and it's easier for me to grab things. Okay. Here we go. Hey, Marlene, I'm glad you're here as well. Welcome. Okay. I think hopefully that's a pretty good angle for everybody. So let me give it just a moment and you'll be able to see that I am zeroing in on some of our beautiful designer series paper. Oh, that's just not a very good angle at all. I need to come this way so that it's not so much my lap, but it is the desk. So let's see if that's a little bit better. I'm going to key in on Magic in This Night designer series paper. It is beautiful paper. I think that you could easily overlook this because it is considered Halloween paper. It is in our Halloween suite, and but I think it's the most non-Halloween and elegant Halloween paper that we've ever had. It is called Magic in This Night. It's one of the papers on sale. So here's the color palette here. Black, Pretty Peacock, Blackberry Bliss, and Cajun Craze. So that is the color palette that we are looking at. And I'm going to go with this piece of paper right here. So let me show you where we're going to go for this fun fold that could be for any occasion, kind of an encouragement card, but I may turn it into a birthday card because of the stamps that I'm using. Now, this is, let me see if I can do this upside down. I think I can. This is our paper trimmer. If you don't have a paper trimmer, I highly recommend this one. Stampin' Up! Came out with this one a couple years ago, and it's got a lot of really nice features. One of the things is that it folds really, really flat. So it's very thin here, and that's makes it easy to transport. Also makes it easy just to kind of tuck away and put aside when you're not using it. So I am going to need the arm out because I'm using a full 12 inches of my designer series paper. So this is the piece of paper that I'm going to use, and this measures 5.5 by 12. I will have your measurements for you. Hey, Crystal, I'm glad you're joining us. So what I'm going to do is I am going to I'm going to score from the inside here, and I'm going to start. I don't want this guy because this is my cutting blade. I want the scoring blade, which is the lighter color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start and bring it in here, and the first score line that I'm going to make is at 4 1/4. Again, I'm using just the scoring blade. Hey Cheryl, I'm glad you're here as well. So there's my 4 1/4. Now I'm going to bring this down, and I don't have to even lift up the arm. I can just scoot this down, and there is 7 1/4. And this is actually going to form the base of my card. The whole sheet, or half a sheet almost, of designer series paper. And then lastly, I'm going to go to 10 1/4. So those are my score lines. I will have them written out for you in due season, so be patient and you will get that. So now I'm ready to just fold this up. Isn't that nifty? And you can get 2 of this fancy fold, fun fold card out of a single sheet of designer series paper, because of course this is 5 1/2 by 12. Okay, let's go ahead and get everything a nice crease line, and you will see where we are going to go. I'm going to start here. There we go. And you know, we always do where you want to hide the worm. So there's the worm for me this time is, I need to come down a little bit in the camera. So I'm going to go there. Then I'm going to do like an accordion style, and I'm going to fold back and give it a nice sharp crease. And then I'm going to fold again to the inside, and that is going to give me a nice sharp crease, and that causes my card to fold this way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to need a couple of things here. I'm going to be putting a piece of Whisper White cardstock right in here. Now that's 5 1/4 by 4. And that gives me the inside. And that also kind of helps break up that color where you can see some of the beauty of this paper. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, and I keep seeing, I need to bring it down here. Okay. Faye, I'm glad you're joining us from Virginia. I bet it's even colder in Virginia than it is here in Texas today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece here, and that's going to also kind of bring everything together. So this is ready to be put aside. I'm not going to actually stick this down yet. What I am going to do is bring over my Big Boss, and let's open this up. And I have a couple of tips and tricks for you with regard to what I'm going to put on the outside. I want to make this a fancy card. And the best way to do that, or one of the best ways to do that, is to use these Ornate Layers dies. These are absolutely gorgeous. Let me pull this aside just for a second here and just show you the dies. These dies are amazing. You have so many different frames that you can use. This one is really just an embellishment, and so is this one. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different really fancy frames. And so I'm going to use this one, and I have a 1/4 sheet of basic black cardstock. I have that right here. And I am going to run it through. I'm going to need, I can guarantee you, I'm going to need this little guy. Now, if you don't have one of these, you're going to want to get one of these if you don't already have some other way to get all the little bits out of your die cuts. So this is one of the extra, what do you call it? Extra, oh, doesn't go on that one. It goes the other end. This is one of the extra ends that you can get, for lack of a better term here. Well, let's see. Somebody else is probably going to have to show me how to use this because I'm still using my old one. Lord have mercy. Well, this is what happens when you use something on camera that you haven't actually used yet. I'm still using my old, oh, there you go. My old, what do you call it? Big Shot, the little die brush we had with the Big Shot. So I haven't actually used this one before. Okay, well, there you go. You live and learn, don't you? So that is the new brush for pulling out all the extra die cutting pieces. Now, this is a super intricate die cut, and I actually have some extra pieces in here from previously using it, and it is advised to get those out before you start working, if at all possible. Let me grab, I think I left my little mat, the little foamy mat. Let's see, here we go. When you get your die brush attachment, you do also get a little foamy mat to go with it, and I like to put mine in one of our double cases, because then I can just do this and it contains all of those little pieces. And I'm all for containing, because I mean, these are like confetti. They're so tiny. Okay, let me just clean that off a little bit. Okay, now we're ready to, didn't really clean. Now we're ready to go through Big Boss. And I better just get some of these little bits, sweep them off. That is going to monkey with my process here. Okay, now here's my Big Boss, and here is just the regular sandwich. You know, there's nothing, I'm not using anything special for this. I'm using, like I said, a 1/4 sheet of basic black cardstock. I mean, you could use a smaller piece if you wanted, because you can tell here that it's not as large as that. Now, here's my trick on using these dies for you, is that these dies are super intricate, and although they technically will go through with one pass, ooh, what's going on here? What have I got? Oh, okay. I probably need to stand up. I think I don't have enough leverage because of the way I'm sitting. There we go. Okay. So that is not the best camera angle, but you can see what I like to do on these dies is to then, you can see that it's cut through pretty well, but a little bit on these ends is not quite as deep as I want it to be to make for really easy release. So I went through this way, now I'm going to go through this way. And I just find that that saves a lot of time in the long term when you're using, again, these are the Ornate Layers dies, absolutely exquisite dies, really beautiful. And they will make anything fancy in just about 60 seconds. So there, I'm going to put my plates over here. A little spot where I keep my Big Boss machine. Now I'm going to put this over here because it's going to end up popping a little bit. Okay, there we go. So now I can take my little foamy piece here, my little foamy mat, and I can just put this here and I can rub these directly out. I like to say I'm scrubbing these out because that's kind of what it feels like. You do need to use a fair little bit of elbow grease. You know, this is not a delicate process. You don't need to be afraid of it or anything. Now look at all those little pieces here. And I find that if you take and just tip that into your rubbish bin, that otherwise you just keep kind of making more of the same. So I don't want to inhibit getting these little bits and pieces out. So those are just my little tips and tricks. So now I have scrubbed pretty well. Looks like there's a little tiny bit up there maybe. Now I am ready to pop this out. And look, I mean, there's one from another previous die cutting endeavor, different color. So I've got a little one there. and maybe just a couple of these little circles, and that's it. So I'm going to pop those out really quick. You know, some people have more tolerance for having a little piece stuck in there. I think particularly when you're using a black piece of cardstock, you really do want to make sure that all of those little bits and pieces are out. So all I have to do for that is to pop the other end of this, take your pick, come on, and try to put that on there just because you can end up stabbing yourself. And then I'm just going to go in here and pop these through. It just takes a second. But you see, I'm only having to pop a few of them. I mean, you look at how many. This is a very, very lacy, very, very intricate die. But it's going to make my fun fold card even more fun. So there's one there, and I think that about does it. Okay, so again, just sweeping those off. Otherwise, you know what happens is they get caught in your stamp and seal and make a big mess. So that is what I'm going to do there. And that is going to make my card really, really fancy. And it's, I like, you some whisper white behind this, but I like the effect of the white coming through here and the different colors coming through there. So I have cut a little piece of whisper white to put in here, and that is how I'm going to kind of do the front of my card. So let me go ahead and put this away because I'm horrible at putting things away. And this will ensure that when I get ready to use this next, it is where it should be and not hiding somewhere. That is Ornate Layers dies. Really beautiful. They do have a stamp set that goes with them. It's all greetings, and so you know it stands on its own. You don't have to use the stamp set that coordinates. Now, where are we going on stamps? I am Kathy. You love this die set too. Yeah, it's very elegant and it's super versatile. I'm actually going with this stamp set that has been in our annual catalog for a couple of years now. It's actually one of my favorites. I love, love, love the artwork on this. It makes gorgeous Christmas cards. And this is actually a $1 Million Achiever stamp set. This is, excuse me, inspired by Mary Pride, not Mary Pride. Mary Pride's from the homeschooling movement. Mary Polson, excuse me. Mary Polson, and she was the very first person in Stampin' Up! To sell $1 million in product. And so this is, I've met her. She's a lovely, lovely lady. She does not do any business online, which is just remarkable. So this stamp set is super versatile because you've got Thinking of You, Happy Birthday, which is what I might end up using today. You Always Walk by My Side, Sending Warm Christmas Wishes. This is very beautiful. I so appreciate you. And then the one I'm going to use today, You Are Braver Than You Believe, Stronger Than You Seem, Smarter Than You Think, and Loved More Than You Know. Now this is an A.A. Milne quote from Winnie the Pooh, and I've used this for friends going through rough times. I've used it for grandchildren. There's so many different people you can use this saying for. I absolutely love it. Hey Diana, I'm glad you've joined us. So that's where I'm going to start today. And I'm going to start with basic black or tuxedo black. And I have, for time's sake, gone ahead and mounted this. Hopefully I will get it straight the first time. Here we go. No problem joining us late. We're just glad you're here, Diana. So now I am going to stamp this right about so. And then I'm going to just, not very centered. Let's try again. I think I probably better stamp right side up and then flip it around for you guys. Hey Jackie, I'm glad you're here with us today. Let's see if I can get this centered a little bit better. You will like this card today, Jackie, because it has a great saying from Winnie the Pooh. You are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, smarter than you think, and loved more than you know. So this is where I'm going to put here. And I love this shot of Pretty Peacock that shines through there. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to take this branch and I'm going to do just a little bit of stamping there. But I'm going to stamp off because in Pretty Peacock that would be a little bit dark. And I need it to be more subtle than that. So Jennifer, welcome. I'm glad that I'm showing you something that you haven't seen, you haven't noticed before. They're really gorgeous, these frames. So what I'm going to do is take my little image. Ay, look what I just did. Wow. Well, let's see that side where it's not quite as, this is not quite as centered as I would like, but that is the one we're going to be using because I just did a boo-boo. And you can see how when you stamp that off and put those little branches on, it just gives a little bit of color and a little bit of interest that kind of goes in with this time of year. So I think I'll do 3 sets of branches there. And again, you see how that is then going to tie in to the Pretty Peacock in my designer paper. Hey Mary, I'm glad you are here. So the die set is from this set of frames, Diana, called Ornate Frames. And this is, for those of y'all who came in a little bit later, these are all the dies that are in this set of frames. So you have all of these amazing frames. I mean, this is like your whole, this is a layer for your entire card front. You've got these as well. And then these 2 over here. And then this one is really just kind of an embellishment. It's just a little piece of lace, and the same with this one. But these are really gorgeous dies. Ornate Frames is what they're called in the annual catalog. This is annual catalog, and of course the paper is, believe it or not, the Halloween paper from the holiday book. So I just got ink there, and I think I better get that off because I'm going to end up getting it in places that I don't want to. This is my laminated piece of designer series paper that is great to use over and over again. Okay, so my stamping is done, except I'm going to put a little bit on the inside too. But before I do that, let's figure out the outside, and then we will go in for the inside. So I think that this is coming along very nicely. I mean, honestly, you know, usually I do this with you guys on camera. Rarely have I made this card before I get on camera with you guys. I usually have a few ideas before I get started, but that's kind of it. So make sure my hands are clean of that Pretty Peacock ink and the basic black. So what I'm going to do before I put this down is I want to put just a little touch of ribbon on there. And I've got a couple of options here. Now this introduces more color because it puts in the crumb cake. And it also, you know, I mean, that's a lot of lace considering there's lace here. So that might be a little bit busy. But I was really just kind of grabbing out of my ribbon drawer. I was really kind of grabbing on the basis of color. Now this ribbon is the one that is reversible, and it is Old Olive Shimmery on one side, and it's Pretty Peacock on the other. I kind of like that. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to wait and see what you guys have to say. I also, let's see, I have this black and white twine, which would be cute. Actually, I might even be this and this. Now, I think the black and white, I think the stripe is a little bit too busy because I've got a lot of pattern going here because of the lace and because of the black and white flowers here. Now, I have a new roll of this white tulle ribbon, and I thought this just might, again, it might just be too much because of the amount of lace we've already got going. So let's see if we can get this started here. Brand new roll of one of my favorite ribbons. So this Yeah, I think it's just too much white on white. So you guys are being pretty quiet today. Or maybe it's just the delay. I haven't heard from anybody yet. Usually you guys are pretty good about weighing in with opinions. Now, this is another option. This is the black, what's it called? This is, oh, that's nice too. The black with the sparkles. This is the black organdy. That's kind of nice too. But I will say, we have a lot of black going. I think the reversible, yeah, Velma, you're with me. I think that's going to be the ticket. So I'm going to add just a little bit of ribbon, and I think it's going to be just the right touch for our little bit here. And you'll notice that when I go to put down this ribbon, I'm putting it on the white. You don't want to wrap ribbon around that lace edge. That would be very difficult to do. So let's just snip that. And I am going to go ahead and put my seal all the way around the edges here so that it's, once I get the ribbon down, it's ready to just stick down. So let's pop this right here like so and bring it fairly tight across there. There we go. And then that is going to go right on here. Isn't that looking lovely? Now you can see, even if you didn't have, you know, if you weren't doing a fancy fold, look what a pretty, let's just show you how that would look. If you were just doing a card with this, or if you were doing a card with, let me pull this out of here. If you had this as your base, look how pretty, I mean, look at that. I really like that. That's gorgeous. That is amazing right there. So lots of cool things that you can do with this. What we are going to do is put it here. Now you could put additional panels in here. I'm not going to for this card. What I am going to do is stick this down right along this edge here. And I'm just going to use my seal right there. And that is going to attach like so. And I'm going to probably put a little knot here. And I actually, come to think of it, I probably should have knotted it before I put it on the card. So Melissa, you like this reversible ribbon? It really is just a gorgeous, gorgeous ribbon. Look at that. Look at that pretty peacock. It's just enough, you know, it's just enough color there to, and I'm not even going to double knot it. I'm just going to, I think it'll stay just the way it is. Let's see if I can pull the peacock side to it. Now, you know, if you don't like your ribbon tails kind of flying like that, you can always put it on there to keep it in place. I think that's looking very, very elegant. Now, last but not least, before we do the inside of the card, because we do have this layer here that we're going to do like so, at least that's the plan. There's a little goober or something, a little bit of adhesive there. So the one other thing I was thinking that we might add is my favorite rhinestones, and that is these holiday. And I was thinking that these pool party ones just might look really good on here. What do we think? What do we think about those rhinestones? That little bit of pool party looks really good with that, with the, what do you call it? Pretty peacock ink. And I'm going to do one right down here, the large one. I'm going to bring, I should be using my take a pick. I'm going to bring that right down there. What do we think? I think it's really looking nice. Now, I can make this, like I said, into a birthday card if I want to. And I'm going to, you know, I'm going to leave this like so. You can affix that if you want to, add a little bit more adhesive there. But I like being able to kind of pull it out. If you wanted to add more panels to write on the inside, you could. That's totally, you know, well, you know what? Let's just stick it down. Boy, that's looking like I attached it really, really cattywampus. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able, let's see, can I shift it a little bit? Let's see. Oh, it's lifting, oh, ever so nicely. Okay, I got it a little bit crooked, and actually, if I do it this way, I think I can see better. Yeah, that gives me, you can see the line better that way. So I think I will go ahead and just add this. Depends on how much of a fold you want on here. But the nice thing about this fold is it gives you all of that designer paper. All the colors on that designer paper are really, really coming into focus then. You see, look at that. It looks cattywampus over here now. Ay, ay, ay. What are you doing, Candy? Let's see. Well, it's on there now, so it is what it is now. You know what? It's handmade, so if it's a little bit off, it's a little bit off. It's going to be okay. Oh, I'm glad that you're excited about the stamp set, Kathy. You've been eyeing the stamp set. Yeah, it's one of those that you kind of look at in the catalog and go, you know, should I or shouldn't I? But I tell you, I think that you can do some great masculine cards with the bear and the deer. This little pine branch and all of these work great for Christmas time. But I love this, these other greetings really just give you a lot of latitude and a lot of direction that you can go. So I think I'm going to make this into a birthday card. Gosh, there's I don't know what's on there. Something icky. Okay, let's get some clear over here. And I think I'm going to do this in black. And yeah, that won't show. I wanted to make sure that wasn't going to show when I stamped it. So let's do this. And then we're going to pull in a couple more of those branches. I really like that little pine bough branch. Isn't that a nice clear font? Really pretty. And you see how that coordinates with this ever so nicely? So now I'm going to bring back my Pretty Peacock ink, and I'm going to bring back my pine bough. And this time, I think I'm going to stamp one time full, and then I'm going to do it again like so. So there we go. Happy birthday. Simple Elegance made all the fancy by our fun fold. I mean, look at that when you open it, how pretty that is. And just a great all occasion stamp set that gives you birthday, thinking of you. You could put just thinking of you on the inside. You wouldn't have to, I'm doing this as a birthday card, but you could do anything on the inside here. You've got the I appreciate you. You've got the I'll walk by your side. A lot of great greetings in this stamp set. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is it. The one thing I need to do is add a little bit to this. And let's go with, again, let's go here. And I've got a little smudgy there. Let's see if I can cover it. Yeah, that did it. I had a little smudge. So there we go. Fun Fold Elegance. And I will give you the measurements. Again, let me give them to you verbally, and then I will type these up for you. So I started with a 12 by 5.5 piece of designer series paper. And then I scored at 4 1/4, 7 1/4, 10 1/4. So that gives me my Fun Fold from Halloween Designer Series paper. I mean, who would have thought that you could get something that elegant and that versatile out of Halloween paper? And I think I love Pretty Peacock at this time of year. I think it's just so, it's a very warm, very deep, rich color. And when you pair it, I mean, look at the back of the card, how pretty. So that no matter where I turn, I've got a lot of pretty and a lot of elegance. So that is your fun fold for today. Teach Me Tuesday. I did a fun fold today. Gave you a few tips and tricks about using these ornate layers dies. I will have an inspiration sheet here for you later today, and that will have the inspiration sheets. I don't call them actual tutorials because the inspiration sheet gives you all the dimensions, gives you the measurements, and then it also gives you all of the products. So thank you so much for sharing this, Gail. I really appreciate that. If anybody on here will share my video, that helps me so much. I'm horribly behind on drawings, not just for you guys, but for a team as well. So I'm going to actually make another cup of tea, and I'm going to chain myself to the desk and get some things, some drawings done, and get some things in the mail. And then I got to tidy up this studio because I'm telling you, I've been designing up a storm today and getting ready for my November classes and my team meeting, and my studio is an absolute wreck because I think I'm probably like you guys. When you start designing, you're just pulling things out and you're not really putting things away because you're grabbing something else that you need in order to do the next step. You know, you're kind of in that creative mode. At least that's the way I create. I have friends who are very, very methodical and very meticulous when they create. That's not the way I create. So, you know, you kind of have to just roll with the way that your brain goes. So thank you so much again for tuning in. I really appreciate you coming out. I do need to let you know, and I will put a notice on here, Thursday I will not be with you. I have a funeral. My husband's a pastor, and this is a dear friend and a longtime church member. So I will be involved with the actual funeral, which of course is limited to 50 people. The funeral and the interment and the wake. So it's going to be kind of all day Thursday for me. And as we pay honor and homage to one of our brothers in Christ who is such a special friend. And so, but I will not be here Thursday. And so Gail, I'm glad that you're still working on those paper pumpkin boxes, you know. I hope you enjoyed those. I think they're really cool. And maybe on the next Facebook Live, I will do a little recap of some projects that we did at the weekend that were a little out of the box, a little bit, no pun intended, but we were making boxes and cards that go with the boxes. So I'm glad you liked my card, Mary. Thanks again for tuning in, and stay tuned for the inspiration sheet. Take care and God bless. I'll see you.